What's going on, guys? JD at JD's Custom Buggies. Up here in Tennessee, we're packing up to leave, and we just hosed this off. Figured I'd do the quick walk around on it only because we got it done, and I just brought it up to Tennessee and never really did another video after the first one. So just to jolt everybody's memories on this bike. This is a bike I bought on Facebook Marketplace, and the whole point was this was actually the second KFX I bought. The first one I had already preordained it that it was going to be an MX build. I bought this one to bring up to Tennessee just to have some sort of sport quad, so as I'm building the track and everything, I'd have something I could hop on and test stuff out. So as I bought it, when I got there, it smoked really bad, and you know, the only reason I had picked this out of all the other bikes that were on Facebook Marketplace was that it was close to me. Everything else was like an hour or more drive, and I figured, okay, this one's convenient. It's basically right between my house and the shop. I can stop on the way, pick it up. The guy had told me over the phone that it smoked, and he thought at like full throttle, and that he thought that it needed to be retuned. Because I had a tuner in it and that the motor was fresh rebuilt. So when I got there and he fired it up for me, it was smoking right at idle, and I stuck my finger in the muffler, and of course it had a bunch of oil. And apparently the kid he had given $500 to and bought all his eBay parts and handed them over didn't do a great job. So I took it over to my friend Matt at Sarmiento Motorsports to have him look at it and see exactly what it needed, and it needed basically everything in the top end. Apparently the kid had screwed it all up. So we ended up putting new valves, new cams in it, new cylinder kit, and this bike was nothing but a problem child ever since we got it. So our first thought was, let's try a 490 Athena kit, and I guess from the factory it had an issue, and it was leaking water at the water jackets, so I just stopped it. Let's just go with this OEM cylinder and you know, piston kit, which I ordered. And I had asked Matt as far as the different compression ratios that were available, and he said less than 13:1, and I took that as 13:1 or less. So then the next message I got when he got the parts was, I'm a little sketchy about putting this on pump gas. So I told him, can it run on 110 leaded? Yes. Buggy's on 110 leaded. Go ahead and just do it, so I can use the same fuel for that. And while you're at it, go ahead and put my YFZ on 110 leaded too. So retune that. So we got the bike back, and actually before I actually got it back was our last MBX race at Lazy Springs with I4MX. And Matt lives very close to there, and he thought, hey, if you want, I'll bring it out. We could, you know, give it some testing during the practice on Saturday. And then I convinced him on Sunday to go ahead and try and race it. This bike is not set up for MX. It's got larger tires on it. I've got 22s in the front, 20s in the back. It's got whatever, I don't know what it is, an Alba. This is the Nerf bars it came with. Looks like an Alba Nerf bar. The thing is higher than an MX bike, but he went out there and pulled 2 hole shots with it. So it does have torque. He on the dyno, he told me it's got 45 horsepower, 31 foot-pounds of torque, which my YFZ has 50 horse and 31 foot-pounds of torque. So it's got just as much torque as the YFZ. Now that I've ridden stock YFZs and stock KFXs, I think out of the box that the KFX definitely has a little more oomph out of the bottom, whereas the YFZ is a little more revvy, likes the higher RPMs. So just to do a quick walk around on this bike, it is a fun bike to ride. I've been riding it the whole month I've been up here, and have really got acquainted with it, and I can't wait to get back on my YFZ just to feel, especially on this track, the differences and whatnot, because I am not, you know, this bike is not as wide as a YFZ. It's everything stock, so it's a little higher than the YFZ. It's narrower than YFZ. The reason why I wanted another KFX just for a sport bike up here is because of the reverse. If I go in the woods, I figured it would come in handy. So other than the motor work and everything that I got to thank Matt for, we went ahead and actually the night before we raced it, I had ordered Elka shocks for it. I just went on eBay, gave them my information, you know, weight, this, that, tires, and just ordered the stage 1. I was on, this was like the economy build. So I think the total set of shocks was $1,300 or $1,399 for all 3. So it's got the rear shock also. But yes, it made a big difference over stock on the track, at least, you know, from what Matt could tell. The bumper is just aluminum bumper I got off eBay. The stock bumper was bent, so we just replaced that. And then with the grab bar, because this was originally a Monster Edition bike, it has the black frame, so I had a black bumper and black grab bar. So I put the aluminum on there, and then we took the aluminum grab bar off the other KFX because I got Wrath Racing stuff for that bike. So it kind of worked out that they match. As far as the tires, I decided to try these. I was looking for a 20-inch tire. Had to be on a 9-inch rim anyway. I had these ground busters from GBC, and then we went ahead and I ordered the ground buster fronts too, so they're matching. It's supposed to be a good XC tire, which is basically what this bike is kind of supposed to be. The nice stuff, the aesthetic stuff is you got the Foreworks. I love this hood from Foreworks Carbon. So we have it on the other build, and so I ordered one for this one also. What we did that's a little different is that the Foreworks doesn't have the holes for the lights, and had noticed that, you know, it's just confusing not knowing when you're in neutral. We had blown a fuse in the bike, and I turned the key and the bike was dead, and I'm like, it don't even have a neutral light to tell me what's going on. Turned out to be a blown fuse, so we went ahead and drilled out and installed the lights on that, so it kind of worked out pretty good that way. The other nice thing about this is for the steering stem, it already had the guy had already had a +1 steering stem on it, which I'm finding that I like better and ordered one for the other build. It does have the precision flex clamps on there, so it does absorb a little bit, but what we did is there's a guy up in Massachusetts or in the New England area. His name is Albert Tranghese. He's like a KFX guru, so I've been following him, and he makes some parts that are like one-off parts that you can only get from him. So the steering stem bushings and the bottom bearing were shot. If you watch the other video, you'll get a closer look at it of us installing. But I did use the Tranghese bushing block up top, which is greasable, which is nice. And then he's got, it might be hard to see, but it looks like they're all made out of billet aluminum, but that's the new bearing plate on the bottom. And again, that's greasable also. So at this point, I'm using them on all the bikes, or both. I shouldn't say all, like I have a fleet. As far as the seat cover, that's Foreworks Carbon, and it's not so clean. We just hosed it off real quick because we're putting it away. Just want to get all the chunks off of it because we're kind of in a rush. We got lots of machinery and quads to clean and whatnot before we leave. So this is a Foreworks Carbon seat cover. Really cool seat cover, very grippy, really nice. A friend of mine brought his stock one up. I had the stock seat and whatnot. We ended up shaving the seat down just to get a little bit, you know, get a little height out of it. Gonna do the same one. I got a matching seat cover for the other one. This urban camo deal I use on the YFZ is why I kind of stuck with it that way. But I like the blue seats on the Kawasaki's. It gives that 80s, 90s feel. So I wanted to go with like a whole blue and green thing. Just nostalgic. I don't know, Kawasaki's with black seats to me, it don't seem the same. But the seat cover is really nice. Little bit of a bear to install, at least to get it like perfect. Mainly because we shaved the seat. If we didn't shave the seat, it would probably go right over, no problem. As far as the other doodads, I got OD lock-on grips. Got them in blue. Again, sticking with the blue and green thing. Got some Works Connection covers. The covers for these are kind of hard to find. I believe the YFZ actually takes the same cover, so that came, you know, that made things a little easier. But as far as the, so for the rear brake master cylinder, it's got an odd shape to it, and was looking for it, couldn't find it. I'd seen them on other bikes, but turns out that Kawasaki uses the same rear master on, like if you find a new KX, a newer KX bike, or the have a KX bike with a hydraulic clutch, it's literally the same reservoir cover. Just added a couple of DRC aluminum bolts to hold the hood on, and the fender flare or whatnot, or anywhere I can, just to give it a little, I don't know, attention to detail. Green hoses, we installed the new hoses, and I believe that's a set of oil plug. So that's just some stuff we're, you know, make it look pretty. It probably is going to be due for clutch. Can't remember if we did a clutch on this. I don't think so. The other thing I bought was the Yoshi exhaust. We're trying to get an RP race exhaust for the MX bike. The reason why I went with the Yoshi is because I'm a WPS dealer and they carry Yoshi. So it was just, again, I was trying not to dump a bunch of money into this bike, but I want it to be decent. But the bike seems to run good on the Yoshi. Feedback I've got from Yamaha guys, not so much on the Yamaha, but seems to do pretty good on the Kawi. As far as the wheels go, the front wheels I was able to keep original on the bike. They're not the original wheels, but they're the wheels that I bought the bike with. And, you know, they're front beadlocks 4+1s, DWT rockouts. The rear, for some reason, I don't know if they bought a 4x115 wheel and wallowed out the holes and stuck it on, or if they were just loose, but they happened to be both on both wheels. The holes were all wallowed out. So I did have to get some new DWT beadlock rears, the G3s. I carry them, so that wasn't a big deal. I did order the green ring with the blue mud plug. Just again, blue green, why not? Did install a new chain. We did install new bushings and bearings in the swing arm. Had the whole swing arm apart because we had to replace the reverse cable anyway. Kind of hard to replace the reverse cable on these without removing the swing arm. So while it was off, we went ahead and just put everything on there. Being as it was coming up here, I figured it'd be one less thing I had to touch for a while. And while we're along that, I am trying a Durablast lowering link. That's just something a little different. I found them available, was able to order them, so just to try it. I like the way the bike handles, so I don't think it's screwed up as far as the suspension geometry, but we'll try that out. I keep all the stock parts anyway, but it was just because the bike was up so high anyway, I figured between the seat and the lowering link, I figured it might help. Other than that, you know, threw some power mat guards on there. It's going to be like the cousin of the other bike. There's going to be similarities, but they're going to be different. The other bike's getting widened and everything, and it's going to have lower wheels and tires, or smaller wheels and tires to get a lower. But they'll look like they're related in some way, shape, or form. But the bike's been really good. This is what the Yoshi exhaust sounds like. Probably not as loud as the RP, but has a good tone, and she pulls. I mean, the track that we have here, if you've watched the track videos, the track that we're building now, all kinds of elevation changes and uphills and downhills and whatnot. She does climb like a beast. One thing I might want to consider, not so much, the only reason I would if it was like a full-time track bike and she is geared low, or at least she has so much torque, it seems like it's out of gear. It seems like it has a bigger, which is surprising. It's got a 15-tooth sprocket. 1438 was stock, and it's got a 15-tooth on the back and probably a 38, or I'm sorry, 15-tooth on the motor and a 38 on the rear. So I might drop it a tooth in the rear if I was going to ride this bike full time, but I'm suspecting by the next trip I'll be bringing my YFZ up, and I'm going to continue the other build. And as soon as that's done, that'll be up here anyway. So I think I'm just going to leave this bike the way it is. I think it'll make a better woods bike like this. But no, she's been really good. I'm pleasantly surprised for all the grief. I mean, you try to get on the dyno like 3 or 4 times, and poor Matt had different issues with it every time. It was just like it was scared of the dyno. It would blow the head gasket, it would leak oil, TPS would go out, and it took a couple tries to get it tuned. But the overall result now, I'm really happy with it. So that's it for now. Like I said, just wanted to keep you updated on this one. She's she's a volunteer now because she lives up in Tennessee. So That being said, if you like what you see, hit the like button. If you need parts, go to gotbuggies.com. If you haven't already, subscribe. And that's it. See ya.